stranger. Welcome to the Centerfield Greenhouse. I'm Dr. McClintock, botanist and owner. Can I help you with anything?
What exactly is this place?
The Centerfield Greenhouse is where I conduct my research into ionizing radiation on plant life. I'm trying to understand and harness the consequences of the increased genetic plasticity found in them since the war. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about it.
So, you're a doctor?
I studied under Dr. Pensky in Vault 81 for many years, and am now conducting my own research into polyhybridation and forced evolution of plants.
What have you got for sale?
A variety of items grown in my greenhouse. I am also buying normal and irradiated wood.
What rumors have you heard?
I can't say I agree with McDonough's ban on ghouls. They're almost all hundreds of years old. So much experience to teach. None of them go feral immediately. There are months of warning signs of slow cognitive decline. This fear is just plain scapegoating.
Can I ask you some questions?
Depends on the question, I suppose. What did you want to know?
That's all for now, thanks. Don't need anything today.
If you come across any irradiated ghouls or their zoologic counterparts, I'll pay handsomely for their blood.
Excuse me.
Welcome back. Wait, you're not here because you're coughing up glowing mucus from inhaling my spores, are you?
Any good gossip flying around?
The irony of the broken mask incident? Mass shootings in public places by plainclothes civilians is hardly an Institute or synth invention. From what I've read, it was a near weekly occurrence in pre-war America. And just like with McDonough, their leaders didn't try to stop them either.
Heard any good rumors?
Have you seen Lily's murals? She's a very talented artist. I really look forward to what she comes up with each time.
Any good gossip flying around?
Did you see Twisted Mister's employee uniform hat? Mendel got jealous, so I made him that wreath from the greenhouse plants. He's very happy with it.
Any good gossip flying around?
Mr. Dr. Pepper put up all those Nuka mix lights in the hallways outside and in the outfield. He's crude, but I have to admit, he knows interior decor.
What rumors have you heard?
I can see why Piper thinks McDonough is a synth. Actions speak louder than words, and he's all words. Anyone that incompetent is either a hostile operative or is a jet junkie, and I don't see him moving particularly fast. If he doesn't change, more of us are going to go over to Piper's way of thinking. At least she does something.
Any good gossip flying around?
I heard that an old Slocum's Joe in Lexington was overrun by the Institute synths. It doesn't add up. I wonder what they were looking for.
Heard any good rumors?
I saw someone eating pre-war deviled eggs in the diner the other day. Where do people get the notion this is a good idea? I imagine Sheng's water must be causing neurological damage and slow cognitive decline. I'm glad we purify our own down here.
Any good gossip flying around?
I like the sheriff. She doesn't say much, even on Bleachers game nights, but she still comes to them. We must be doing something right.
Can I ask you some questions?
What did you want to know?
What is this place?
A greenhouse, a lab, a farm, a place to relax. It's a lot of things. You're gonna have to be more specific.
So, is this your life's work?
Every bit of it. I've got so much going on, I don't know where to start. And I never shut up about it, so ask at your own peril.
What are you trying to do?
My first projects under Dr. Pensky were to introduce bioluminescent substrate and enzyme marker genes from Vault Freezer luciferase plasmids. I cultivated them right outside the entrance to Vault 81, because space in our vault is at a premium, so using it to grow food is more important. They mutated so fast that they began to use the new genes in their own growth cycles as some sort of quorum activation signal. With sharp eyes, you could see their dim light pulse in sync with separate vines around them and release luminescent pollen together.
How did you know that?
The few samples I grew inside the vault didn't experience the same changes. They act as I expected, stubborn to change. I hypothesized it was the ionizing background radiation outside the vault that accelerated their evolution. Later, I was to find some of those same vines outside the vault growing and feeding on mole rat carcasses, which made them grow even faster. Their tendrils would intertwine with each other and pass on the nutrition, like feeding a colony. It was amazing to watch. About that time, I had to leave Vault 81 to continue working with them. They simply grew too fast. It became more work to cut them back every week from outside the vault or Dr. Pensky's greenhouse. Unfortunately, I could never reproduce what occurred in the fern flower, the wholesale assimilation of entire chromosomes and organ systems. That was until I tried my experiments on some vines growing over forest fungal blight I happened to be cultivating. That was my breakthrough.
How did you discover that?
I saw flower buds of different colors and species growing from the same vines. Here it was. The vine had adopted entire organ systems. Honestly, the blight discovery was serendipity. I got lucky. But chance favors the prepared mind, no? I hypothesized something in the blight is allowing for multiple nuclei to exist harmoniously in the same body, together but remaining apart. Part of a fungal life cycle involves such a phenomenon. Nuclei from separate organisms grow in the same fruiting body, even in the same cells. Yet, until the moment of recombination, they remain genetically separate in this same body. It's a strange system indeed. I'm currently testing various purified fractions of blight extract for the ability to catalyze the same sorts of events in my experiments. If I can isolate and purify the factor, we can give this ability to settlements even where blight doesn't grow.
That's amazing. Do you have any more details?
Oh, of course. I don't get to teach biology lessons very often. Dr. Pensky always said, the best way to learn is to teach.
Biology lesson?
Yes, a biology lesson. I'm so glad you asked for one. Plants don't react to chromosomal aberrations the same way animals do. They're quite tolerant of them and can react in surprising ways. Take the fern flower, for instance. Before the war, a flowering fern didn't exist. A fern isn't an angiosperm. It evolved long before flowers. This massive level of genetic change in only 200 years required the radiation from the war to catalyze it. Furthermore, this genetic change cannot be achieved simply by a Hox gene activation, like restoring ancient genes for teeth in chickens. The fern evolved before flowers. There was no genetic information of the flowering life cycle in its genome to reactivate in the first place. Where did this information come from? The simplest explanation would be horizontal gene transfer, but that's too much genetic information. How did the fern then come to possess its flower? That's one of the questions I'm trying to answer.
How would something like that even work?
Given the high levels of ambient ionizing radiation in the world these days, I cannot rule out an entirely new mechanism for genetic recombination. I'm testing my new theory that perhaps there's yet another life cycle involved, that of a fungus. Fungal reproduction is very odd indeed. During sexual reproduction, the nuclei of two organisms share cells, nutrients, and grow in the same body. But they remain distinctly genetically separate until sporulation. They share the same body, but are two different genomes. I'm also trying to reproduce these sorts of gross changes in morphology, physiology, and life cycle in this greenhouse, with some success. I believe I'm harnessing that mechanism on my bioluminescent vines. As you can see, the same vines clearly display more than one species and color of flower. They're beautiful, but one day I hope to grow many types of food from a single vine. Food security for the Commonwealth is my real motivation.
Nice. That sounds pretty high-tech. What do you grow here?
Mostly plants for my research, but also cotton for the city. My ultimate goal is to develop a plant which can grow many types of food on one vine. If the flowers are to be believed, it's definitely possible. These plants are amazingly resilient and accommodating to new genetic information. They grow rapidly and adapt their transport mechanism to distribute nutrients in an optimal manner. Look at the supplemental nutrients drawn in and spread from the left corner, upstairs and across, and then down to the plants in the right corner.
It's pretty amazing, no doubt about it.
It is, isn't it? They grow outwards, and the other vines were attracted to the nutrients. Before, the glow was hardly noticeable. But I watched as the vines cooperated and spread the nutrients to every corner of the greenhouse, from that one corner all the way over to the other one. The vines slowly amplified their glow like a bright wave spreading out. The next flowers to germinate possessed the bioluminescent properties from the vines. It was so beautiful, I had to bring Professor Scara to show her.
You've got technology here that I never dreamed possible. It's amazing. I wanted to ask you about something else.
That's all for now, thanks.
That's a shame. My babbling about science is the stuff of legend in Vault 81.
That's all for now, thanks. Don't need anything today.
Let me know if you scav any large chemical batches out there.
Hello there.
Our traveler returns. You want to hear about my work? It should only take the next 2 hours.
Can I ask some questions?
Depends on the question, I suppose. What did you want to know?
What's your take on Diamond City?
I love it here. I have a lab, a clean bed, a shower, and a suitor who cooks for me. Not many people can say that. I'm lucky. But something tells me you had something more specific in mind?
What's the security like around here?
I'll have to admit, they're not great at conversation, but the sheriff's department has kept us very safe since their inception. The sheriff is an outcast. She was raised by and to be one of the Brotherhood of Steel in the Capital Wasteland.
Hey.
Welcome back to the Centerfield Greenhouse. Can I help you with something?
Can I ask some questions?
Sure. What would you like to know about? I can talk about my work forever.
What's your take on Diamond City?
I love it here.
Uh-huh.
But something tells...
Right. What's the security like around here?
I'll have to admit, they're not great at conversation, but the sheriff's department has kept us very safe since their inception. The sheriff is an outcast. She was raised by and to be one of the Brotherhood of Steel in the Capital Wasteland. Her unit abandoned them some time ago. I'm told she worked as a caravan guard after her unit was killed in the wastes. Time and circumstance brought her to us during an ambush on the city. She took the city's best guards and molded them into a remarkably effective urban combat team. They established a perimeter outside the wall and became known as the Fens Sheriff's Department, fueled primarily by whiskey and cigars. I sleep very well knowing her snipers dot the rooftops around Diamond City. They say even rats have a hard time entering the Fens alive.
What's the word around town?
Well, that's a bit complicated, but Piper would be the one to talk to. She's got her finger on the pulse of the city, so to speak. People are very worried about the Institute right now, and rightly so. It's very real, and so are the kidnappings. I've seen replicates myself. Mayor McDonough doesn't seem particularly interested in stopping the Institute either, which just adds to the paranoia he's one of them.
Heard any rumors about how folks are feeling around here?
Danny Sullivan is a nice guy and all, but he's a pretty dim bulb. I wish someone more capable was guarding the main gate.
Heard any rumors about how folks are feeling around here?
Did you know Ellie Perkins grew up in Good Neighbor? That sort of knowledge of the streets makes her ideal to work for Nick's detective agency.
Heard any rumors about how folks are feeling around here?
I appreciate Myrna's caution, but at the same time, is her rampant paranoia about synth replacements giving the Institute exactly what it wants?
Heard any rumors about how folks are feeling around here?
If Shen Kowalski's water is safe, I'll put DP's hat on my head and eat it without using my hands. That smug kid is a public menace.
Heard any rumors about how folks are feeling around here?
I like Arturo, though his singular mind about guns can get annoying. But I suppose he's just trying to provide for his daughter here in the city.
That's all for now, thanks.
I wanted to ask you about something else. Tell me about the Minutemen.
I like the idea of the Minutemen. From what I'm told, they were once a force to be reckoned with, and allied closely to Diamond City. Times are different now. They seem to be the punchline of a joke about what happens when you stick your neck out for the Commonwealth. I heard they were effectively wiped out in Quincy by the Gunners not long ago. A sad end, really. The good side does not always win, it seems.
What can you tell me about the Institute?
They make no sense, and that frightens me. What are they trying to do by replacing us? Surely they can march over this city with a robot army, but they just replace us with sterile copies that can snap at any second. I agree that McDonough is one of them, but why replace any of us at all? I can't extrapolate any sort of logic from synth replacements. Nobody benefits, opinion is only solidified against them, and no agenda is advanced. That's what truly scares me about the Institute. Stunning technology aside, I can't figure out their fundamental motivation. Both the sheriff and I spend long hours Apologies. You'll forgive me, but I shouldn't be talking about such things with outsiders, of course.
Who are the Brotherhood of Steel?
I've never met one. From what I'm told of their hierarchy in society, they must have a high coefficient of inbreeding. From what I know, They're little better than very successful gunners who sleep with their cousins and won't kill you if you give them what they want. The sheriff used to be one of them, but she went AWOL with her squad for reasons that aren't mine to discuss. She knows Latin, advanced military strategy, and has her finger on the pulse of her troops, making her a formidable commander. Brotherhood education has to be top-notch, if nothing else. But the tribalism they exhibit is antithetical to their stated purpose of saving humanity.
I wanted to ask you about something else.
That's all for now, thanks.
Let's get down to business.
You get right to the point, don't you?
Right.
Got any work?
I heard about Lily stomping her power armor through the bleachers with a motorcycle engine strapped to it. Was it you that helped her? She's borderline paranoid about strangers down here. If she trusts you, then yeah, I have some work for you. This structure wasn't originally a greenhouse. In fact, the entire second story was collapsed in on the first. There was no actual second floor left. Mr. Dr. Pepper gathered his friends, and together we filled the entire first floor with soil from under the stadium foundation. The soil you're standing on goes all the way down to street level. You're in what is effectively a giant glass-covered flower pot. However, soil quality was very poor, and incapable of sustaining the heavy turnover of carbon-fixed materials in the greenhouse today. I've been working with materials from Vault 81, Brahmin dung, and standard fertilizer, but I really need industrial-strength soil interventions. That's where you come in. Are you up to hunting down large quantities of pre-war chemicals?
Do you have any more details?
The first treatment I need is to replenish soil nitrogen levels, and a job this size requires urea, and a lot of it. It was a pretty standard soil treatment for large-scale farming before the war, and is used to recondition poor post-war soil on today's farms. But make sure you're prepared. It's stored in large drums. They're big, super heavy, and must remain perfectly sealed.
Just tell me what you need help with.
That's wonderful news. I need you to find as much urea as possible to replenish the nitrogen content of my soil. It's big, heavy, and usually stored dry. Make sure you have enough space to carry it back when you find it. You should start your search in any chemical plants and warehouses, or even farms, particularly high production or poor soil quality farms. here somewhere. Just keep looking. I swear sometimes these vines grow too fast to keep up. You're back. Can I safely assume that large, pre-war drum you brought with you is the urea I asked for?
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
Excellent. This is integral to proper conditioning of the soil. Here's your payment. I still have more work if you're interested. Oh, Lily, one last thing before you go. I got word of another chemical supply, and I need someone with some experience to get it for me. Lenny said he came across some anhydrous ammonia while picking through Cambridge Mass Chemical, in the loading bay. This is an important one, that's why I'm asking you. My plants go through a lot of nitrogen, and this would take care of them for over a year. It's gonna be liquid, and you don't want to spill it on yourself. I don't know how big or what shape the tank will be, though.
Lenny, huh? He's probably sold that tip to 5 other people by now. That guy's slimier than a bog ghoul.
Yeah, undoubtedly. It wouldn't be the first time you met another courier at the same hall, both working on the same tip from Lenny. But we've never had problems with batch chemicals. I can't imagine there's that many people interested in anhydrous ammonia. Well, maybe extra smart raiders making chems, but Lenny isn't exactly brave enough to deal with that sort. He's afraid of Mr. Sphincter, after all.
I'd ask you what it does, but I can barely pronounce it. Cambridge, huh? Yeah, that's not far. I can go scout it out first, see what I'm dealing with. It'll be easier than lugging a Brahmin or my power armor all the way over there. Sure, I can handle it, after I do a favor for Rizzo. He got a message to me through Lucas. Said something about dogs needing cats? It was hard to understand. You know how Adam cats talk.
Yes, of course, a few days doesn't matter. So Rizzo needs a favor, huh? He's got you wrapped around his little finger.
Hey now, that's my man you're talking about. Nobody disrespects him. Except me. And only to you. We don't see each other as often as we'd like since I moved back here. Now it's just when I do power armor runs for the sheriff every couple of weeks.
I'm just teasing you, Lily. Of course you should go see what Rizzo needs. They're all the way out in the middle of nowhere by themselves. You can't just choose who you love. You could be wrapped around the finger of a jerk, but you've at least got Rizzo. There are lots of girls in Diamond City who would walk over coals to call him theirs, but he's yours. Oh, speaking of Adam Cat Desirables, Lenny said to tell you he saw a motorcycle in the loading bay at Mass Chemical, too.
Another bike? Hot damn! That's 2 back to back. I mean, yeah, this won't be new, but if it's intact, there's some good pickings. Well, now I'm gonna have to go check out what Rizzo wants extra fast, so I can get over there and strip down that bike. And I know just the person to help me. What do you say? Want to come with me to make some caps and meet some of the coolest customers in the Commonwealth?
I'd be glad to help if I can.
Awesome! You get to meet the gang, you know. I'm gonna go get my gear together. Come see me at my room when you're ready.
Yes, Lily? Great! Thanks, Lily. That would have started smelling pretty awful in another day or so. Good luck out there. Be careful. Word is Quincy's gunners are pretty well dug in by now.